Welcome to the Inglorious Blasters podcast, a Star Wars Legion podcast talking anything and everything glorious or inglorious about the game. My name is Corey, and with me today are two eggheads, John and Brendan. How's it going, my dudes?
Hey, it's going good.
Eggheads. Is that really in Star Wars?
Eggheads is a rebel nickname for stormtroopers. Apparently, Star Wars Tales 22.
Okay. Sorry, the first thing I thought of was the Batman villain.
I will never look at stormtrooper helmets the same.
They're just eggs now. They're just eggheads.
I mean, I'm okay with that because specifically the egghead I was thinking of was from the Batman 66 show, and he was played by Vincent Price, so I'm good with that.
Okay, Brendan is now Vincent Price. There you go.
Vincent Price is awesome.
Moving along today on the podcast, we have LVO recap. I went there, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experiences there. What do we think about the new rules? All three of us had some games, with the new rules, so we're going to go over that quickly. And then there is a brand new game mode coming to Legion. It is called Spec Ops. It's kind of like Kill Team from 40K Universe, if you know that. But yeah, we'll get into it. Should be a good episode. Let's see. LVO was a lot of fun. Showed up there day one, and I just did what Blizzard Force does. So let me go over my list for everyone probably already knows this list, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So it's the same, Imperial Officer with improvised orders, Operative Vader with Force Push, Force Choke, Into the Fray, Tenacity, and then I have 4 speeder bikes. They all have emergency transponders, 4 snows, and 2 snows, my bad. And then I have 2 HRU units with the range 4 guns. So that put me at 782, so I was blue player most of my games. Blizzard Force does nasty things. So, so here are some thoughts.
Down with
the first
Blizzard
game...
Force.
Yeah, Blizzard Force. Ugh. We'll get into it. Don't you worry, Brendan.
I know. I as an Empire main, I just hate Blizzard Force.
I like how Blizzard Force plays. Bikes are really, really fun, but the list is just overtuned. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff is cheaper, but I'll get into that in my final thoughts. Wrapping up LVO. So first game, day one, was against a Rebel player. His name is Matthew. Cool dude. And he was playing like Luke, Din, and then like a Rebel gun line. And we ended up on Breakthrough Disarray. And he put like a fleet trooper out in his weak zone, so the bikes just like kind of mopped it up, and then he had to make a play to, go kill something of better value. Didn't end up happening. I ended up killing his Din because he threw Din out because he had to. He had no choice. And then once Din went down, he conceded. So not a very interactive game because there was a giant LOS blocker right in the center of the map. So as soon as I got that one kill on the fleet trooper, it was pretty much game over because he had to come to me and I was already castled. Game 2 was against another Blizzard Force. He outbid me by 1. This is Kyle Kruger, by the way. Again, awesome dude. I had a fun time playing him. We were joking back and forth. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So he was playing the other Blizzard Force, which was Veers with 3 snows kitted out with like flamers, and then HRUs and 4 bikes. Right. So he had like 11 acts. He also had a generic officer. And we played his deck, so we landed on key positions, rollout, and hostile. So basically what ended up happening was I hid all of my troopers to avoid the 2 bombard cards, and then our bikes jousted. Essentially, that's what you're going to do from short edge to short edge. He got early kills on my bikes, but then I popped right back with my bombard card, and then the HRUs mopped up the bikes. So now it's just trooper v trooper battle, but I have Vader. We both kind of joked that the tables at LVO were all fine, but this one this one like didn't really have any LOS blocking, so there was like lots of space in between stuff. So I tried my best to like get Vader in there safely, and surprisingly I did. I think that's because I threw out the bikes early, to like let him like, you know, try and take care of those and focus his attention on that. So I think it worked, because I think on turn 3 I played Vader's Might, and I got engaged with a snow that had activated. So once I did that, I was like, okay, this game is pretty much in the bag now. So it was KP, so he had to rush the center. And then with the new rules changes, Vader's really, really good at it. I mean, he's good at a lot of things, but he's also really good at KP. I saved Master of Evil for last, and then I played it turn 6, and then basically I panicked all 3 units on the center KP, and it was just Vader there. Panicked units do not count towards the objective for KP. So there you go. I won that one, 2-1.
Nice.
Yeah. Game 3, I was already moving on to day 2, so this was slightly more relaxed game. I was against Josiah. I think he's from Team Relentless. Cool dude. And we landed on Breakthrough Disarray Supply Drop, and he was playing Yoda, Triple Barks, and then some like clone stuff. I think it was 9-Axe, if I remember correctly. So I was already at a like pretty big advantage playing Breakthrough, and then it was Disarray. I felt pretty bad because my bikes were saving everything he shot, at it. Triple Barks, shot right at the one bike in my Disarray corner, and just did not die for like a turn and a half. So that kind of like really set him on the back foot. And then basically Vader got in with the other clones that were advancing. So it was kind of over after that. My bikes did really nasty saves there. So, yeah, 3-0 day 1. Couldn't be happier, right?
Nice.
I didn't have anything planned for day 2, so I was like, I really hope I make it to day 2. I came here for Legion, and I didn't really want to play the other game mode. What was it called? Unconventional Warfare. I was like, no, please no.
Is that the doubles? That's the doubles event?
No,
that
doubles
wasn't
was
doubles.
on
That was something
Sunday.
else. Yeah, I think Unconventional Warfare like broke the rules of the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. They came out with the rules for that back in like 2021, where it changes up list building and gives different bonuses depending on how you built your list with the different list building.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. When I heard people mention it, I just assumed it was like the official name for the doubles stuff.
No.
So now.
I was initially confused at that too, but no, it's a whole different mode. Yep.
Cool.
So day 2, here we go. Day 2, I knew this is make or break. You have to go 3-0. So all my games were, it's the sweaty day essentially. So I fought against the droid player. So I was pretty excited. I was like, sweet, this should be fun. His name was Kevin, also a really cool dude. We joked around the entire time. So I think we both had fun. We landed on Breakthrough, Danger Close, and War Weary. He was running Kalani, 2BX Commandos, the full squads, and he had the Sniper, Emergency Transponders, and O-Push. We'll get back to that later. And then he had 6 B1s. 4 of them had repair bots, and then he had an AAT with shells and something else, I think. Link targeting, right? So the whole point of his list is to sharpshooter down bikes really, really hard. Which he, in my opinion, should have done, but Blizzard Force had other plans, and my dice luck had other plans. Yeah. So what ended up happening was I deployed all my stuff on my edge, and then I put Vader at the very top, and then he deployed all of his stuff on his board edge, right? So like Vader is just going to be the scariest man, right? Try and hide behind something and then clash into something. Mm-hmm. This was a really, really close game and really fun. I couldn't stop the BXs because he played his one card, what is it called? The Super Tac Droid 3-pip, where you can deploy last, whatever that's called.
Oh, the one that gives things reinforcements.
Yeah, it gives reinforcements. So he played that, and
He
you know,
divulged it.
he divulged it. Yeah,
Oh,
it kind of makes sense on Danger Close. Kind of want to know where Vader's at.
That's fair.
He doesn't have anything really to recover other than O push, so it's a pretty powerful card. But anyways, he deployed his BXs, and then his BXs could see Vader, so he got some early wounds on Vader. Vader went to 4 health remaining after 1 shot. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. But luckily, I was able to hide behind a rock where the tank and the BXs couldn't see me, unless he wrapped around. So that ended up being pretty good for me, that rock. And Vader eventually gets in with Vader's Might Play. He goes with a BX, I believe, to shoot at it was to shoot at a bike that had like flown in. And then Vader goes to immediately go grab those BXs, and like he just rips them apart, and I only leave the unit leader left, and I pull in his other BX. Okay, so here's what I did. I went into the BX droid that did not activate yet, and then I pulled in the unit that did activate, right? So I was effectively safe. Or so I thought. So when I went into the unit that didn't activate, I killed all but one BX droid because of Impervious. So I didn't get to kill all of them, unfortunately. So he went one by one with all his droids to heal them. He healed them back up and punched the crap out of Vader. Vader's left on 1 wound. He sneaks in a B1 unit. A B1 unit moves and punches Vader, gets 1 crit, and then I flub the defense roll. Vader's dead. Turn 3.
Oh my god.
And I was like, well, it's not great, but it's fine. This is fine. Roger. Luckily, only 1 BX is standing at this time. So I'm like, well, all right, I just got to make my bikes do all the work, essentially. And they did. They really did. Every time he took a shot at my bikes, they were just like, no, I'm going to save out of it. The BX's shot at the bikes, I think he got 5 hits into the bikes. I rolled 4 saves. I'm like, I am so sorry. His B1s shoot at it, like 3 crits. I'm like, okay, 2 blocks. I'm sorry.
Can your white dice teach my red dice how to block, please?
It was disgusting. I was like, what is this game? So I think my dice luck helped me out there, but it was still a lot of fun. There was a weird interaction that I'll go over later in some final thoughts. But I was able to win 5-4. Very close game. It was very fun. And then I played against Don in my second game, and we played Payload Disarray War Weary. It was a Empire IG-88 Shore Gunline list. Callus was also floating around in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This table was kind of open on one side, so we all kind of deployed our stuff on the one spot that had the one side that had the most terrain. And then we basically walked towards the open area, if that makes sense. He got a lot of shots on my HRUs, and like they almost died. Luckily, they did not. And then my bikes kind of swooped in and killed his weaker side. I forgot to mention he also had 2 dewbacks. Bikes just kind of eat dewbacks for breakfast. It's not a great matchup for dewbacks. Yeah. Rip dewbacks. So yeah, once I cleaned them up, I was up on Axe, and then Vader got in eventually and basically carried the game. I'm not gonna lie, Vader's kind of disgusting. And then I won on that objective, 3-0. Sorry, Don. Vader's kind of gross. And then who do I get paired up with on game 3 of day 2? None other than Kyle Dornbos, from Notorious Scoundrels, right? Mm-hmm. And what do you know? We're running the same exact list. And I do mean the same exact list, down to the upgrade. The only difference is that his blue deck is different with one objective, and he has key positions instead of payload. I win the roll-off for a blue player, and I pick blue because I just don't feel like playing key positions. So that's why I picked it.
Okay.
I'm going to go over turn 0 a little bit because I thought this was like the most interesting part about it. I know it's Blizzard v. Blizzard, so how interesting could it be? So we landed on, for objectives, hostage, payload, bombing run, breakthrough, then battle lines, danger close, hemmed in, disarray, and then it was clear, hostile, war weary, supply drop. So I banned clear because clear is kind of boring. He bans hostage, I ban battle lines, and then he bans payload. Unfortunately, that's the one objective I wanted to play. I did not want to play bombing run, and I told Kyle this at the end of turn 2. I was like, I really did not want to play bombing run, so I hate you for this. No, I didn't say it like that, but it's the one objective I don't have the most experience with because everyone bans it. If you have speeders and you're really good at bombing run, no red player always bans it, so I don't have any practice with it.
I have zero practice with it. I've never played bombing run.
Yeah, it's not an objective people like to play usually. So when I was going over turn 0 in my head, I was like, if I ban danger close, hold on. If he banned payload, then we would be playing bombing run hemmed in. So I was like, basically it was going to be either hemmed in bombing run or danger close bombing run, in my opinion. So I was like, I guess I'll pick danger close. My hemmed in position was not very great on my side of the board. He had some really, really good line of sight blockers where I just couldn't see anything. And he could just kind of like hop over stuff safely into the next line of sight blocker. So I was like, all right, danger close it is. Long story short, I lost. I tried. We both basically did a mirror deployment. We both put troopers on one side, and then we both kind of put bikes on the other side, kind of spaced range 1 apart so we don't get bombarded. And basically he got up on kill points because he killed one of my snows early, and that was not great. And then he ran away smartly. So I was like, okay, this could be a weird game. So my only hope was at the end of turn 3 that he would not have order control on one of his bikes, so then Vader could go pick up the bomb, because Vader was next to those bikes. So I was like, maybe this is a thing. Turns out, no, it's not a thing. Because he played Master of Evil and did order control for his bikes, and then he went last with that bike, even though I played Implacable, so I can get effectively 2 turns to maybe move into position to pick up a bomb. Bikes are just way too fast, so that's all right. I'm glad I got to play bombing run for like my 4th game ever of it. So, but Kyle's a cool dude. I mean, I just need to play more bombing run. So that'll end my LVO tournament run. I can't be too sad because effectively the same exact list won LVO, right? Kyle and I had the same list, so I guess I'm not too sad about it.
I mean, you lost to the guy who won. It's how I felt at PAX. I lost to the guy who won.
Yeah.
Which was also Kyle with that list.
Yeah. Ugh.
Will we be naming Kyle a enemy of the podcast, similar to Mike Berry, now that he has killed 2 of us, 2 of the 3?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's not because I lost. No, not at all. It's because after we played our game and we were just kind of chilling and talking, I said, "Oh, Kyle, do you want a free sticker, right? Like our Inglorious Blaster sticker. I've been handing them out." And he goes, "No, thank you. I actively deny swag now." And I was like, "You son of a gun."
He told me this.
You deny? Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he said he had too many stickers. He had too many stickers.
So that's why he's an enemy to me. He denied me giving him a sticker. So
I have lent him measuring tools at various tournaments, so I'll have to offer him a sticker next time.
And then he'll deny you too. Nice.
No, I understand. Right. If you have too many stickers, you don't know where to put them. I'm cool with that. But I don't know. Should he be an enemy of the podcast? It wasn't in a single event that he beat us.
That's true.
Well, Mike Berry is currently the only person on the list of enemy of the podcast, and he beat us all
both
in
of you at the
separate
same
events.
event. No, he beat you both at the same event.
I didn't know that was the. I just assumed
Yeah.
if you had beaten multiple of us, you just all of a sudden become.
I think
enemy
if
of
you
the
beat
podcast.
us, all three of us, but at separate events, then you're good to go. So
Right. So I just want to wrap up some LVO thoughts with so I guess some Blizzard Force thoughts, right? So I know everyone's already talked about it, but here are like some quick like top highlights why I think it definitely needs an adjustment, right? Everyone's already talked about it, but if you don't know, here we go. There's still the top dog after this new points adjustment. It's a good list, and the right player can make it shine, like way better than everything else. It can bid and play the objectives it wants to play, and puts you in like awkward situations on turn 0. So payload hemmed in, never fun if you're red. Bombing run, good luck if you don't have fast units. Hostage against Vader, again, good luck. Disarray breakthrough is also, I would think, an auto lose. It's in my opinion very similar to payload hemmed in. Also, I found disarray in general is such a bad deployment for your opponent. It's like not even funny. The bikes will just run over whatever your weakest side is, and then you just mop up the rest, right? These are just some like general thoughts that I had on Blizzard Force. Please
please,
I hope they do something about it. I hope they don't like murder it, but like they definitely got to do something about it.
I'm gonna keep saying my my one solution. I figure HRUs are going to get a points bump, but I think because it's supposed to be a thematic list, one of the supports should be forced to be an EWEB.
That would be cool. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a simple thing, and then you know, quadruple bikes is a problem. Triple bikes, people have been able to do that for forever. So it's a small thing. It opens up a lot extra points in the list, but it makes it way more
does.
thematic.
It opens up like 20, 25 points.
Yeah, but you know, it gets an EWEB on the table. And then immediately everybody's going to stop playing because there's an EWEB on the table.
Yeah. And real quick before I forget, I was handed like kind of like a preview unit of the new 6-up supply plasma blade line laser, right? So if you go to their website right now, it's up for pre-order. It's basically a very powerful laser that's USB rechargeable, so you don't got to worry about batteries, and it emits like a very, very powerful green laser beam. It goes very far. It went all the way across the hall. It was a huge hall at LVO, and I was like, wow, okay. It did not lose like any clarity. It was pretty sweet. Yeah, it's a fun toy. There you go. Hit up 6-up
3D
supply.
printed to look like a lightsaber, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it
they,
looks like a lightsaber.
if you ordered them, they are shipping, I believe, because just before we started recording, I saw that mine had shipped today.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
so
Check it
sweet.
out, guys.
I want to also chime in on LVO. I watched pretty much all of the streams while I was putting myself through the torture of putting together 4 squads of B1s. But, I mean, got to give a shout out to Mike Barry for getting second place with a 5-0 first list, which very impressive. And, I mean, it looked like a pretty fun list with 3 full ARC Trooper squads in it. But then also, just because everybody's talking about him, Dave Grant, who brought the 6-act Vader Palpatine Gav tank, and went 5-1. Also, his only loss was to Kyle.
Kyle gets the best of us.
Yeah, I have to say that list looked like a lot of fun. And the one streamed game that he was on was first round of day 1. He piloted it amazing. I think what people should take away is you can make any list work with a lot of practice because he's been playing it for years. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you can make any list work just by putting it together. It has to have purpose and practice. But
Absolutely,
you can
I
do
agree.
whatever, and it'll work with time and practice.
It's definitely pilot skill and practice, right? That usually trumps a lot of things.
And purpose.
Yeah.
If the stuff in the list doesn't have a purpose, it shouldn't be there. I mean, his six acts were beefy, but they all served a purpose.
Yeah, I agree. It was awesome.
And if you haven't watched that stream, highly recommend it. It's now up on the Yavin Base YouTube channel. And you can also still find the video on demand on the Twitch channel as well. But an amazing game to
Shout
watch.
out to Endless. He did a good job streaming.
Yep. Very entertaining stream. Kept me sane putting together B1s.
And I believe LVO now holds the record for largest in-person tournament with 143 players. Pretty exciting.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Very.
22 of which were playing Blizzard Force. So just one more bullet point for your list of reasons to give it a little kick in the butt.
Get it gone.
Yeah.
No one list
Hopefully
should
it'll
be
do
that,
something.
should be that popular.
Yeah.
What pretty much sums it up is every time I play against it, when Corey and I do practice games, the cards come out and every scenario is bad for me. So it's just, which is the least bad of all of the bad options do I want to play?
No such thing.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's weird. It does way too many good things.
It is rough. It is a rough go.
How about we transition over to some new rules thoughts? What do you guys think?
Cool.
Yeah, works for me. I'll go first because I have the least to say. I've gotten one game in since the new rules, and it was with I played a list that I knew I wouldn't win with, but it looked fun. It was a Krennic and one Death Trooper, a Bosk, and Callus with a shoreline. I just wanted to have some fun with some models I don't normally play with. That also could give out a lot of suppression at range to see if the suppression rules would really have much of an impact. I ended up playing against one of our locals, Sam, and he was playing a Republic list, and my list just got demolished. Basically, the only difference I really noticed in gameplay is there was more cover with these new rules, and that's also something I noticed on the streams watching LVO. But I mean, otherwise, it didn't really feel that different. I didn't end up really doing much climbing, just because my list for the most part just stands still and shoots things in that scenario. But I didn't really experience anything different, and seeing that I had opportunities where I could just climb up onto a building. I think I did that with maybe one of my shore trooper squads at one point. I mean, it just made for an easier play experience from what I experienced. But overall, it was positive. It was just a lot more just cover shots.
Nice. Good to hear. John, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, we've played 2 games with it, and then I obviously watched a couple of the games on stream for LVO. And I like pretty much all of the different aspects of it so far. I really like the pass mechanic. I think that was really well done.
Yes.
And I'm not just saying that as a Republic player who
I did
pretty
use
much
the
always
pass
plays
mechanic.
9A. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the pass mechanic. I just like that it adds a new element of options when it comes to list building. 9X doesn't feel quite as bad. All the movement stuff seems fairly clean for the most part. I actually really like the panic changes. I think it adds almost like a little bit of like a mini game, kind of new elements that you weren't necessarily as focused on in the past. So I really like that. There's some really cool turn 6 things that you can do, or round 6 things in game to panic units and stuff that you wouldn't have necessarily thought of in the past. And then cover and wound allocation. I'm fine with the wound allocation. Cover is fine, I will say. I mean, it's pretty much everything has cover just about all the time. So I don't necessarily like that there's very few out of cover shots. I do think it kind of makes things much more simple, which I think most people are pretty much in that camp. I don't know. That's the only one where I'm kind of on the fence about. I'm hoping that there's some alteration to that, just because, I mean, even at LVO, some of the tables weren't super dense, and it was still pretty much everything was in cover, just by the way that you're doing cover checks now. So that I'm kind of hopeful will change a little bit after we see how it goes in real life events. But overall, I'm very happy with everything. It definitely did not feel or look like, when referencing the streams, that like it was a huge major overhaul like everyone was concerned about. Like I still feel like it's like 85-90% the same game, just with a couple tweaks. But I mean, anytime a new unit comes out, there's going to be some tweaks to the game. It's just kind of part of it. So I'm really happy with it so far.
Nice. There you go. So I played a bunch of games, right? I just went to LVO.
What? You played a bunch of games?
What? It's crazy. I played a bunch of games with the new rules, guys. So it was funny hearing throughout the hall, like everyone was shouting, "Counselor!"
I loved hearing that on the stream.
It was funny. I got into it.
I gotta say, I think I heard it on another cast, but I agree with it that yelling that. Now, you know, if you're playing in a hall with other games, you know that you're calling for a Legion ruling and not somebody else.
Yeah, so the distinction's really nice there. All right, so anyways, so I had a couple. So I'll just go over some interesting like rules interactions that I had over the weekend. So the Imperial speeder bikes are like the size of like a thin pancake now for like their silhouette. So it's like much easier to hide them than before. So for example, in my game 3, there was a lot of heavy buildings. There was one building in particular that I could hide my bike safely behind, when before in the older rules, he would have been able to see my the head of the model and be able to shoot at it. But now it was like so thin, I could just like hide behind it. So I was like, well, okay, this is a thing now.
Yeah, so Corey, for clarification, that's because with the new rules, the speeder bike silhouette starts from the bottom of the model. So it doesn't include the flight stand and the base, and it goes to the top of basically the handlebar. So it's not including the head of the of the rider. So
it's like correct, a little thin flying saucer, basically.
Yeah,
that's effectively what it is. You are trying to target this tiny, thin pancake target. So yeah, there were a lot of shots for my opponent, and I was like, and I was not trying to be like a jerk. I was just like, "Can you see it?" I was like, "I don't think you can." Like it, you know, I'm like wrapped around this building, and like hilariously, this cylindrical building, randomly at the same height, and I kid you not, at the same height that like thin speeder bike pancake is at, has like this one piece jutting out, which blocked, in my opinion, the speeder bike, so he couldn't see it. So I was like, I don't think you can. I think I gave it to him. I don't remember, but I was like, this is weird. It's very abstract, and I hated like saying that. I'm like, I don't think you could see it, but whatever.
Yeah, because now the part of the speeder bike that juts off the base doesn't count either. It's literally just the base and then the pancake at the top.
It would have been a much easier, again, like Brendan's saying, like that piece that sticks out, he definitely saw that, but not the way I positioned it. I'm like, I don't know, man. So it was interesting. I was like, I don't know about this. So then there was another one where I was able to shoot through the AAT because it had perched up on a rock and I could see underneath it. It was kind of a weird interaction because ground vehicles don't let you do that, right? So I'm talking about like a regular tank that's on the ground or an ATSD. It's full LOS blocking, right? But hover ground vehicles, if you could see from the base, to the top of the peg where the model is, that's free game. You could shoot between that. Same thing with like stuff like the bus and then the saber tank, right?
Oh, so you can actually shoot underneath them, essentially?
Ankle sniping.
And I felt bad. I knew the the interaction. I was like, all right, I'm gonna shoot underneath. He's like, can you do that? I'm like, yeah, let's call a counselor. So that's weird. I feel like, in my opinion, it should just fully block LOS for hover ground, because that way there's like no weird. Because if you're already treating it as like a ground vehicle, then just do it fully. In my opinion, just do it fully. It's fine.
Because it makes sense that the AA5 doesn't block line of sight at the ankles, but an ATST's legs do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm getting at. Like, why is that a distinction? Like the tiny distance between the peg of the AAT and the ATST legs. Like, none of that makes sense.
You can see right through the ATST legs in real life, but no line of sight blocking in the game now.
Yeah. So, from a thematic point of view, I just didn't like that. Obviously, I took the shot, but I was like, I don't like this.
I feel bad
and
crushing you, but I'm gonna do it.
Vehicles are weird.
But I'm gonna do it.
I
The
played
vehicles are
Blizzard Force.
weird. They've got nuance. Definitely need a little tweaking, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So then I also got like maybe 2 shots out of cover for my bikes, like the entire tournament. So like 6 games worth. That kind of made me sad. Checking line of sight, I just stopped doing it unless I really thought I had it. And then even then, it took like a while. Yeah. It's either I gave up or like I tried for like a full like minute to 2 minutes. Like just checking every base side, right? So yeah, take it or leave it on that one. And then I think payload's fine, even though I only played it once. I played it twice so far. I don't think it's a bad objective like some other people are saying. I think it's really good if you want to force the fight and clash with your opponent still. So yeah, I still think it's good. You may get screwed over, but if you want to force that fight, I think it's a great objective still. Let me put it that way. So before we get into Spec Ops game mode, how about we give a quick plug to a couple different things related to our podcast? We have a Discord. Want to chat with us? Talk some Legion, show off your hobby work, or just show off pictures of your pets. We have a Discord channel for you. We would love to see you there. You can find it in...
Yeah, sorry. So, you can find a link to it on Facebook, on our podcast websites, or just message us on another Discord, and we'll give you a link. Additionally, I've recently added a new voice channel called Hobby Hangout. When I'm hobbying, I'm hanging out there, so you can ask me questions if you want to join. When you see I'm doing something, because I'm just working on models. So feel free to hop in if you see me there, or if I'm not there, feel free to hop in there if you just want to see if anybody else is available to chat.
Yeah. I've been meaning to hop in there as well. Just been a little busy lately. So, yeah, come check us out there. We're also on most popular podcasting apps now, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and YouTube. We would really appreciate it if you leave us a review and a rating. It would really help us out. And Brendan said you can find our page on Facebook and Instagram. Search for The Inglorious Blasters, a Star Wars Legion podcast, and follow us on Instagram at SWL Inglorious Blasters. Or you can send us an email at swlingloriousblasters@gmail.com. Alrighty. With that, let's go over some Spec Ops. What do you guys think? First reactions.
Well, first, I just want to read the game overview from the document here to just give a little overview of what it is. So, Star Wars Legion Special Operations is a game mode for Star Wars Legion that focuses on small squad level skirmishes. The game utilizes miniatures and core rules from the Star Wars Legion, but introduces new gameplay mechanics, squads, and missions. Basically what it is. New game mode, use your existing models. There's no heroes in this game mode currently. It's just looking at generic units. and this is a beta. That's the main thing we should mention on this. It's still in beta. They are basically releasing this to everyone to beta it. There's 2 rounds of the beta, one going on right now, and then you can submit your feedback, and then another one that's going to happen in April or May, I think it was. So it's basically new way to play with your models, new rules, definitely a work in progress.
Yeah. I noticed there's some interesting rules changes. I'm not going to go over all of them, but because I only had a quick chance to take a look at it. But they are using the same movement templates, right, that Legion has, but they're changing to using a measuring tape for measuring stuff like weapon ranges and other abilities printed on the cards. So, for example, if you look at, you could download this from their website. You can look at the unit card of like a Stormtrooper. For the E11 blaster rifle, it doesn't say like a range band anymore. It just says the number of like inches it could fire. And in this case, it's 12 inches. And then it shows you the dice, right? So this one, the single model shoots red, black, black, white. That's interesting of a change. I like that they're using more granularity with different attack profiles, but it's also like weird at the same time because it's like I don't know how I feel about it. Essentially, is what I'm getting at.
Are all the ranges in increments of 6 inches?
No,
They are not.
I didn't.
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say maybe it's if everything's like 6, 12, 18. You could just use
gotcha.
the range rulers.
No, like I'm looking at the Imperial Officer. It's got their blaster pistols range 8. I can understand.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
understand the reason why they're using the inches rather than the existing range rulers, is to have more variation in ranges, since this is supposed to be such a much closer skirmish level game. You know, if everything's in 6 inches, why play it any differently? But if you can do in between distances, it makes sense. So I'm cool with that part. It's a little different, as are all these, new profiles for units. But each unit's got more health, which is kind of fun. And they're throwing a lot more dice. So, it looks interesting. I don't know if I'll get to actually play any of the beta currently, but it definitely feels like something I'd give a try in the future.
I definitely want to try it. I think I'm just going to wait for the beta to be over. I don't mind printing out the cards. I just don't want to do it twice. Yeah, I'll just be a little lazy on that, right? I just don't want to do it twice. That's all. I think it's cool. I like Kill Team from Games Workshop, and this gives me a lot of the same vibes. So essentially, you pick a list archetype. So, for example, you could pick a more Stormtrooper focused list with an officer, Stormtroopers, and Death Troopers with a medical droid, or you could pick like a more ISF like based list. So you get a captain, some ISF troopers, and some scout troopers, and you also get ID 10. So it's cool. And then it also does like the fun part of Kill Team, essentially, where you only have to buy a couple boxes and you're good to play. So you could buy basically 2 boxes is what I'm seeing for about most of these lists. You buy 2 boxes of models, and then you got your squad, and you're good to play. You just print these out. I'm always a big fan of print and play stuff, giving life to your models in a different way. I enjoy that type of stuff, so this is really cool. I'm going to check it out when it gets out of beta. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I also like that there's 4 different objectives for this game, and it's literally you each bring your list, and then you pick one of the 4 to play. And if you want to make it random, you can make it random. There's no, lay them out and veto or anything. It's literally just, all right, what do we want to play? Or, hey, let's make it random. Which one do we do? So I like that level of simplicity. This seems fun. It feels like it's meant to be played in 60 to 90 minutes. You know, I don't know gameplay time, and I don't remember reading anywhere the actual gameplay time, but that's what it feels like to me. It feels like it's just going to be a lot less models and just like a more interactive version of Skirmish, essentially. Because the Skirmish game mode is fun and all, but it's definitely not a balanced game mode. But it will be fewer models and hopefully after beta more balanced.
Yeah, that's the hope. I think it'll be quick. I'm seeing like 8 to 9 activations for most of these lists, so it's nothing crazy. I didn't read it, but I think it's 4 rounds only. Yeah, it's only 4 rounds, and then the game ends. So it's got to be quick. I think you could get this down in an hour.
Probably.
Yeah, because you're not like messing with like cohesion and other stuff.
Yeah,
so
each model is its own unit essentially. So
yeah, you're not thinking about turn 0 because like you already have a predefined mission and deployment. So there you go.
Yeah,
and you literally roll for red or blue. So
and the lists are also
I think this will be
so you know exactly what you could be up against.
Right. I think this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna give it a shot, probably when it's out of beta.
Yeah, it seems like the most customization you can do right now is what command cards you bring.
Right. Which that's cool to me. There's new command cards, and I'm glad there's no heroes because if I want to add heroes, I'll just play like Legion or Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint seems more hero focused.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the fact that there's so many new keywords for this. And then, I don't know if you guys also caught, but you can't move twice in this either. So.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, I think there's a special keyword
that's actually a good thing.
Yeah, you can do a full movement. Let's say the speed 2 movement, but then you could take another action that lets you do speed 1. But you can't do 2 speed 2 movements in any given turn, based on what I've noticed. Unless maybe there's a card that lets somebody do something, but because it's such a smaller scale game, you don't want people like sprinting everywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's good. That's definitely a good thing. John, what about you? Are you a fan?
I think I'm a fan of the idea of it and the fact that the community as a whole can use the minis that they have already purchased in new and exciting ways. For me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the smaller scale skirmish style games. Like, if I'm going to get together and I'm going to make an evening out of it, I'd rather just play like the full scale game. And I only get to play 2, maybe 3 times a month. So it's not like, oh man, I'm playing standard games 2 or 3 nights a week, but I still have all this extra time. Let me throw this in there. So I get it. It reminds me, like back in the day, like I said in previous casts, I played 40K for a long time. So I played like the original Kill team that was in like the White Dwarf magazine, and Inquisitor, which is almost like MCP or Shatterpoint, at least from the design of controlling like 3 to 4 larger heroes. And it was just, every time I tried it or played it with a buddy, I was like, we're getting together. I'd rather just play like the full on. Like, I just love the aesthetic and the grand nature of having the huge table with all the terrain and all the minis. So that's just my style of play. So something like this doesn't necessarily interest me. But I think it's awesome that AMG would put something like this out, and it's free. I love that they are taking some of the input from the community during this beta test phase. So I think that's all very cool. It's just not for me personally. So
this feels
not to say it's bad.
That's all good.
Yeah,
for sure. I completely understand that, but I also feel like once this gets fleshed out, this could be used as the gateway drug for any friends that say they don't like miniatures games. And then you can trick them into full Legion using this.
So I'm glad you brought that up because you just reminded me. This game mode is actually perfect because I've been wanting to show like my little cousins Legion, right? Because like they know I play these games, but there's no way I'm going to bring this to like Thanksgiving, right? Bringing a full Legion table, 2 armies is like very annoying. Skirmish was not fun, so I was not going to bring that, right? So this looks great. It's a super small model count. And I've already, we could just use like kitchen table stuff for terrain, like some books, some salt shakers. It's fine. Everything has cover anyways. So, yeah, I think this is awesome. So for tricking your family members into miniature games, this is going to be pretty good. It's also Star Wars, so it usually sells with my family.
I mean, Star Wars, just yes. But, I mean, if somebody is playing this game and doesn't like Star Wars, please reach out. I would love to talk to you. I want to know why.
Star Wars is multi-generational. I think that's like one of the coolest things about it. Like my mom loves Star Wars, I love Star Wars, and my girls love Star Wars. So it's like 3 generations of Star Wars fans. Yeah, so I think Star Wars definitely, anything you put out, even if it's like subpar, people are going to buy it just simply because it's Star Wars.
If you don't like it, someone else will of either generation, younger or older, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the amazing part. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has things they like.
All right, gentlemen. Any other final thoughts before we land this ship?
Why do you always assume we're landing?
Before we crash the ship. How about that? Ingloriously.
Let's crash this X-Wing.
All right, everyone. It's been great. I'm Corey.
I'm John.
I'm Brendan. Don't encourage actual drug use, but use this game as a gateway drug.
Stay glorious, everyone.